Ah, yes, it is time once again for another super crazy clueless OP main protagonist in a fantasy setting, but with a nice thematic theme this time around. We are, of course, talking about the Ossan Newbie adventurer trained to death by the most powerful party became invincible, episode 1. God, they keep making these titles longer. There's no way I'm gonna be able to fit that in the video title on YouTube, am I? Ah, frick me. Anyhow, I just finished episode 1, and I actually kind of liked it, even though I am a sucker for these shows. So, what do you know? First of all, though, let's go through a quick synopsis here. Rick Gladiator. I'm sure it said Rick Gladiator in the synopsis before, but now it's Gladiator, but whatever, I'm gonna keep saying Rick Gladiator. Much better name. So, Rick Gladiator. He is a clerk, or he was a clerk, working at this guild, but at age 30, I guess he had a somewhat early midlife crisis, realized this isn't what he wanted to do with his life, quit his job, and somehow managed to find himself as the apprentice of the most powerful adventuring party on the continent, which sounds difficult, but somehow he managed it and went through hellish training for 2 years, and now finally he's going to register to be an adventurer and follow his dreams. He starts at F rank, because of course we have a standard ranking system. No S tier though, seemingly only A tiers. That's new. But he gets to this E rank exam, and of course he aces it, right? He's the classical clueless open main protagonist. And we basically just end episode 1 with him getting to see his test results and his adventure party pals coming to view them as well, I suppose. A very simple premise, right? But what drew me in a lot to this anime, even outside the classical, super OP, clueless main protagonist stuff that I always love, is the theme. And that is what I want to talk about first here. The theme and premise of the show. Very rarely in anime do we really explore something from the viewpoint of someone properly adult, right? It's almost always, especially in these sort of power fantasy shows, it's almost always, teenagers, 15, 16, 17, 18, maybe 20 if you're pushing it, right? But never someone that is approaching middle age. Though, as he would say, he's 30s, not 40s, alright? But still, we never really explore viewpoints from main protagonists that are, let's say, older than 20 even. So now, with Rick being 32, being a proper adult man, that gives us the opportunity to really explore facets and storylines and perspectives that we rarely get in anime. And that, in addition to the whole thematic thing going with this anime of him following his dreams and pushing against adversity, pushing through that, pushing through hellish training, pushing through disapproval, pushing through people saying it can't be done, just stop, give up, go back to your day job. That is to me the bigger and biggest draw of this anime. That just, let's say, survival story, or just risking it all to achieve one's dreams story is not really that much explored either, but especially from this sort of aspect in terms of being an older man, I think is really refreshing. And again, not something you really see often at all, and something I really would like to see them explore a lot in season 1. And they do hit on that multiple times in this episode, right? We have the testers during the exam, and one making a comment of, oof, you're 32, and just now trying to get to be E rank? Yeah, just, I see your results here, no magic, whatever, just go home, just don't even bother. Go back to your day job. What's the point, Just stop trying to be something you're not. It's too late. But of course, in the end, him pushing past that and going through with it, right? Just putting up these obstacles and showing you, the viewer, that, hey, he is continually always facing adversity in this world, but he keeps pushing himself forward to follow his dreams and aspirations. And that can be a really inspiring story, this season, and something I might really enjoy. It is somewhat comical as well that every time someone asks about him, what, he's 32? It's like always the thing they remark upon. But again, they keep just hitting this point of his age and this thematic thing. A decent bit in episode 1, so I hope they continue with that and showcases how he is pushing past that and why he's doing what he's doing, right? Why he's following his dreams and all that good stuff. Now I want to move on to the good old classical clueless OP main protagonist syndrome here that we have in this anime, and the comedy that inevitably follows suit with that. I mean, of course, we have our main protagonist, Rick Gladiator, that I'm going to keep calling him, by the way, and he has been trained by the most powerful party on the continent. He thinks he's so weak, but of course he's absolutely clueless as usual, and he's actually mega goddamn strong. I mean, how can anyone look at that man's body, being giga mega chad, muscles and everything else? Like, he must be on 10 levels of steroids if this wasn't a fantasy, and not think he is OP. Like, goddamn, this man's body is Schwarzenegger times 2. And since I'm a sucker for these kind of shows, especially any sort of power fantasy, I do also just enjoy the humor they've put in this show. I mean, like, yeah, you have the young prodigy, but he's overshadowed by this old man, and he comes like crying to him. He's like, "You meanie, you ruined my magnificent entrance." And of course, that leading into the inevitable duel with the older sibling that is super superficial and thinks she's so much better than him. And of course, also, they always promise to like be a servant or slave or something to the loser, or the victor in this case. They need to stop doing that, I swear. Like, don't you realize you're not the main character here? Anyway, the Clueless OP thing is something that many people are going to be probably, you know, kind of tired of, right? I mean, something we've seen over and over and over again, especially in any sort of power fantasy setting. We get it, you know? But it's not done badly in this anime. It's done in a sort of semi-humoristic, comedic way. I mean, one scene in this episode I really enjoyed was the classical, you know, antagonist character uses powerful spell, supposed to be super fast, you know, no one can dodge this, but then the main character basically stun locking himself with being caught off guard, basically in disbelief at how slow she actually is, that he almost forgets to dodge before being reminded. In those sort of scenes, you've probably seen many times before, but it still hits well for me in this first episode. I still enjoy them because I like the main character, and the story is something I'm starting to be invested in already. They have a lot of work to do, of course, to make it good, make it really fun over the season, and this whole clueless OP protagonist shtick and the comedy that accompanies it. Yeah, if they just keep with the same shtick without evolving it over an entire season, I can definitely understand how that might become stale and annoying, maybe boring, or just something you roll your eyes to and grow out of. But in episode 1, I definitely enjoyed it a good bit, I have to say. I also have to say I totally understand why this night girl, that I assume will be part of the story moving forward because she is on the front page of the anime, basically. I mean, I also understand why she surrenders after seeing him hit the ground and basically make a crater. It's like, yeah, I would also surrender in that case. I think I would kind of run home too. Like, goddamn, that is, that's not human, all right? No, sir. No, sirree. And of course, the whole comedic part of his party now coming to view his results and whatnot of the test he just took to become E-rank. Like, it just invites comedy. And if they play the comedy parts well, in addition to adding in these thematic things, yeah, I think it'll be a very fun, enjoyable show, you know? Now, before going into my overall first impressions of episode 1, if you're enjoying the video, got any value out of it, or like it, whatever else, please like and subscribe on my channel here. Deeply appreciate that. It helps the channel out a ton. So thank you, thank you. Now, to end off the video here, I do want to mention and talk a bit about my first impressions of the show after episode 1. Of course, as always, it's only one episode, right? You can't get too much information from an episode. There's only like 20 minutes of runtime. But so far for me, yeah, I love power fantasy. So inevitably, I'm very much drawn to this sort of show and to enjoy it. And with this one, I definitely do as well. Thanks to a good, generally strong starting episode. It sets the tone, both thematically and also the humor and other aspects as well, that I think they've done pretty well with. The special trait of the show will obviously definitely be the perspective, as I mentioned, of this older, proper adult man and his whole thematic struggle with overcoming adversity, reinventing himself, and following his passions and his dreams, even if he is at an older age. These two, I think, will mix into being a very nice, even great show if they explore it properly and more in detail and more in depth. And after watching episode 1, I think they actually want to explore this aspect and this theme a lot. And in that case, I think I will actually really end up liking the show, because I think that is something you rarely see and something I want to see. I want to see explored in an anime setting. Overall, to me, it was a very fun, joyful first episode that I got a lot of chuckles out of and smiles out of, and the inevitable power fantasy enjoyment I always get out of shows like this, but with a very nice investment into the thematic aspects of the show as well. So if they keep this going, I will probably be a big fan of this show this season, and hopefully you will too. I would definitely recommend you checking out episode 1, because this one might be a banger, just saying. Anyhow though, if you already watched episode 1, what did you think? Leave your comments on the show, or the video, or anything else down below. I read and respond to all of them. And of course, if you want to support me, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I hope you found this video helpful. That being said, hope you have a nice day, keep watching anime, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.